within the kind of Tate narratives or the Manosphere is this idea that you have to work against a system that's out to sap your power. Right, so they will talk about maybe formal educational establishments, or these settings being part of the matrix. And actually, if you raise any of these types of narratives, it's likely that the teachers will try and shut you down, because they're part of the matrix. Therefore, when teachers or educators in the classroom, who've been told to shut down these conversations, the perception by young men is, well, of course you're going to say that, because this is just proving all of the stuff that I've engaged with absolutely correct. So whilst the idea of money and power might be a really strong draw and something that's advertised by the individuals that might be communicating these messages, it's not necessarily accrued through engagement in formal education, progression into the higher education, and entry into a middle class career. Actually, it's doing something different. It's being part of the Hustlers University, or whatever it is that Tate calls it. But one of the real challenges, I think, that young men face, that is very much aligned to this, and it's something that we kind of speak about a little bit but don't really get to grips with, is how significantly society and the world around these young men and their parents potentially, has changed in the last 20 years or so. We've seen some amazing work going on with regards to gender-based inequalities, and dismantling some of those structures that led to some of these serious harms that we see being really perpetuated towards women. We've also seen more conversations about the nature of gender as a social construction. So actually, if it's only society that tells us that boys must wear blue and girls must wear pink, then why can't boys wear pink, and why do males have to call themselves he and him? What about if they don't subscribe to any of that stuff, which is all going on around? And for a young man who is trying to pick their way forward in a very, very complex world, then it's not very surprising that they might potentially feel a little bit lost. They might benefit from some guidance and some support on how to navigate those things. Issues related to the man that they potentially want to be in the future, or if they identify as a man, or if they have friends that don't identify that way, and what that means. If you've got somebody giving a very, very clear message, a very simple message around what it means to be a man, what it means to be a successful, very, very clear on gender division of labour, on what being a man involves and what being a woman involves, then it's a message that can cut through to these young people that are feeling very confused by all this. But what we don't have, and something that we're working towards creating with Boys Impact, is a counter narrative, a message of really hopeful masculinity for these young men, futures where they are not going to be included in statistics with regards to men being disproportionately likely to be addicted to alcohol, become homelessness, enter into the criminal justice system, have these disparities in educational attainment, more likely to die by suicide. Actually, when we work with young men, it's because we want to create futures for them where they're happy, healthy, they're brilliant, loving fathers, they've got fantastic, healthy, balanced romantic relationships, and great connections with families and support networks around them. And I feel like that's the missing piece at the moment. That's what we really need to be working towards when we're working with young men in education. It's not just about grades, it's about these young men's place in the world and their futures.